Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to keep us positive, we are making this a drinking game.
Yeah.
Freaking good!
So anytime we say anything negative about a film, you're going to hear this sound. And that means that we are having a drink. We hope you drink along with us, people.
So pour yourselves a glass, and we're going to give it up for some Oscar picks and
Woo!
That's right.
some Hollywood dirty tricks. I don't know. We're playing the drinking game. We're going to try and keep this positive.
Yeah. For friends and fans of the show, we have been watching a lot of Oscar movies. Not all of them, but a good chunk, especially in all of the big awards that you might expect. We've seen all of them, I think, by this point. Some of them we had to rent. Many of them actually came out in 2021, but we are here. The Oscars are coming up next Sunday, April 25th, 2021. If you're seeing this in the future or hearing this in the future, let us know how we did. We will know. But Let's go. Before we get into our Oscar special with picks, what we want, what we think is going to happen, let's go ahead and give our people some shout outs. John.
Shout outs. We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. His handle is C Barroso Bar 2019. That is CBARROZOBAR 2019. It's on Instagram. Give him a follow. And if you're digging the music in this episode and every single episode, you know who it is. Made by the artist Dasein. That's Dasein, Dasein. If you're digging it, you can go to soundcloud.com/Dasein-artist. You can download all the music for free. Go hit it up, people. And as always, if you could please like us, love us, review, subscribe, all the things, share, we really would appreciate it. The handle is at the Love of Cinema Pod on all the platforms except for Twitter. It's just at the Love of Cinema there. Please hit us up. We will really get back to you, and we would really appreciate the traction. Jeff.
All right. Well, we are going to get into the Oscars. The Oscars this year dominated by a couple films.
Yeah.
You got, everybody thought it would be spread out a little bit because of the weirdness of 2020 and just how many films were just getting kind of dumped at the end of the year. They thought there'd be a lot of variation, but just like every other year, you have about 5 or 6 films just totally just sucking up all the nominations. Mank is 10. You've got Judas with 6. You've got Nomadland with 6. You've got Trial of the Chicago 7 with 6. You've got Sound of Metal with 6. You've got Minari with 6. And you got The Father with 6. 6 is a magic number here.
Yeah.
Plus Promising Young Woman with 5. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom with 5. News of the World 4. Those are not the only great films that happened this year. But anyway, we are going to go through them. We've seen all these movies. We're
pretty pissed Invisible Man didn't get a shout.
I mean, that basically didn't happen this year because it happened in February of and Ben Affleck's still bummed about the way back. But anyway, before we get into our picks, let's just quickly keep you up to date. Have you guys watched anything else now that we didn't have to watch any more films this past week for this podcast? Did you soak it in? What'd you do, Dave?
Oh yeah, I soaked it in. I call it Crimson Peak. Very recently, watched that again. I was into Falcon and Winter Soldier, and Disney really went there this week. I was very impressed with their content this week. Probably my second favorite episode after the week before. Nice. And I hit the absolute. It's going to be an absolute classic, cult classic, guys, on Netflix. Nick Cage in Jiu-Jitsu. I was so excited I saw this film that I immediately texted both these guys, and John actually thought I was serious and sat down and watched this piece of shit.
yeah, honestly, seriously. You know what, though? I remember seeing trailers for this when this came out, and I thought it was going to be another, just hilarious Nick Cage watch. This one was almost unbearable, you guys. This thing was... this is really bad.
It was terrible.
I mean, get drunk, roll your spliff, do whatever you want to do, have fun. I still laughed. It's just, there is a better cut of jiu-jitsu somewhere on a cutting room floor somewhere, a faster put together cut. You know what the best part about this movie is, though?
Guys,
Nick Cage.
I'm just buzzing you preemptively now.
Nick Cage shines like Polaris in this fucking thing. He is clearly the best actor in this movie. He is
you see him for like 2 seconds. He did all of his shooting in like 5 days or something when he was done. It was like he took up a fifth of their budget to get him in this film, but it really is like a 90-minute stunt reel, which normally it's Hardcore Henry did it better.
Yeah, some really bold bold choices in how they filmed some of the fights. They each have kind of a dramatic, like a different, unique version of cinematography in each fight. I'm not saying it worked
And
every time, but it was cool.
That's all there is.
That's
folks.
it. That really is all
But
there is.
the second Nick Cage hits the screen, it instantly becomes a better film.
Yeah.
And you
Did
did
you
say
see
that
anything
about
else?
That was it for me.
Okay. I also watched, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, but maybe 2 weeks ago, Ken Burns dropped on PBS his Ernest Hemingway 4-part docuseries, which I finished and I really enjoyed it. Complicated, interesting, intense man. I love Ken Burns. Definitely worth checking out on the PBS app. You can pay what you want, I think, to join to be able to stream there because it's public television. So definitely hit that up if you're a documentary fan. Pretty cool.
Throw him some love.
Yeah, Jeff.
I rewatched some episodes of Broadchurch that I'd already seen. Grad School sucks. Don't do it.
First season.
Yeah.
Grad School sucks. Don't do it, people.
Right.
That's for ruining the youth of America.
That's right. Let's get into it, people. It is time for our Oscar picks. There are a lot of huge storylines, but rather than try to throw them at you now, if you're following them, if you're paying attention since nominations, you know what they are, but we'll do it category by category. Our categories are going to be a little sporadic. We're going to start with some big ones, then we're going to end up coming back to Best Director and Picture. So please hang on to see if we think that Nomadland is on shaky ground and might have a last-minute Parasite moment where one movie comes out of nowhere to take the mantle and the momentum away from Nomadland for Director and Picture.
I'm still undecided on a couple of these, so I'm going to be like, yeah.
And that's cool.
We are, just to be clear, we did not look at Las Vegas for this. So even though I've been following, I'm sure you guys have been following some of the other awards. They're all a little sporadic anyway this year. So rather than try to let Vegas decide for us and then pretend like, oh my God, how did I win 20 of these? We just left that off to the side and we're going with our gut. It's going to be somewhat of a combination of who we think should win versus who we think will win, but you'll see it. We're going to start with cinematography, visual effects, then some acting categories. We're going to go one by one. Stay on board. Fellas, we're going to fill out our picks first.
Yes.
And then we're going to discuss one at a time. That's how we're going to do it. We have not shared this with each other. Are you ready to officially get our Oscar special going?
Let's put our money where the beer is.
All right. So we're going to start with cinematography. Dave, this is your account.
So yeah,
I'm excited to see. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Yes.
Anonymous Coyote. Who the fuck is Anonymous Coyote in our shared document? All right. Here we go. I almost just put a border in instead of filling out my number. We're doing X's. Okay.
I do X's. We
All
know
right.
this.
We
It's established.
Wow. This is crazy. Not too shocking, I guess. We have a 3-way tie. We agree.
Yeah. Everybody picked Nomadland.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think, and so who else has a shot here? Because I don't think News of the World has a shot. Judas and the Black Messiah, I also don't think is a shot in this category.
Mank
Not to
has a
disrespect them as movies.
Mank
I think
has
Mank has a shot too.
Yeah.
And Trial of the Chicago 7. Those are the 5.
Mank has a shot mainly because of what they did with the techniques they used, where like the cinematography style changed depending on the era and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Mank has a shot, but I feel like Mank's a gimmick that a lot of people see past.
I think I know what you mean. And let's just shout out this dude's name. Joshua James is the director of photography, cinematographer for Nomadland.
The man who can command the sun.
Yeah. So like everyone who doesn't know, he likes everyone who's seen this for all 3 of these films, he's been really obsessed with rig operating units. So I think he uses Steadicam sometimes. He operates handheld.
You say
sometimes.
all 3 of these films. Does that mean he did Chloe Zhao's other 2 films?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
They have basically been
collaborating
since NYU. They were both NYU directing and film production majors, and I guess he loves filming for her. I think he has a lot to do with. I listen to multiple podcasts from people who were involved in this movie.
Let's face it, it's kind of working for him.
Yeah, I mean, they have a good thing going, and I think,
great.
yeah. Anyway, so I want to hear Dave talk about this, but when I think of best cinematography, sometimes retrospectively, you might think, oh, what was the most big, giant, beautiful shot I've seen this year?
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, my favorite cinematography is cinematography I don't think about when I'm watching it. It's very, it's sewed into the fabric of the film. So in light of that, I agree with you guys. I think Mank, I was a little focused on the cinematography because it was such a big piece of the storytelling. I am going to go to bat for Trial of Chicago 7. I didn't think about it a single time, and that's how I know it fucking worked. It didn't distract me at all. and I thought it was I liked how they went in and out, which apparently was Steven Spielberg's idea. He was part of the producing team for this. How they went in and out of their very low budget use of real archive crowd footage of the riots, and the way they chose to stage the speeches in the park and everything. I thought it was very effective. So I have to give it up for cinematography a little bit for that. Like, I thought they made some really creative decisions. Is there anything?
I don't know if archive footage counts towards cinematography.
It does. That's what I'm saying. They made a decision not to lean on the archive footage too much, but how do we make a crowd scene with a low budget? How do we not show the entire riot with just, 100 extras or something? So I don't know. I did think that was pretty captivating. And we talked about in our episode how effective the cinematography was in the courtroom. Do you remember we were talking about how sometimes we would see the wide and we would see everyone? Sometimes we would go in very effectively on individual characters, and then the way they used reaction shots in the very, very careful cutting to Frank Langella. So I don't know if that came out and snuck a win over Mank and over Minari, because they might split the vote. I wouldn't be shocked, and I don't think I would be disappointed. Do you guys have any like side passion film, anything like that? Were there any other films that stuck out to you?
Not with cinematography.
Yeah, no. I mean, No Man's Land, it was a case of like, especially when you're working with non-actors as well, who could be in a different place, like to nail the shots that he nailed in that film, the way that he did, and it becomes a like an extra Nomad almost.
Yeah,
like you're there with them. It's not you're watching them. You're there with them. You're another person sitting at the campfire.
He operates the entire time, so he was strapped into a Ronin for most of this shoot, I think, from what I've heard some people describe.
Yeah, we all know what that's like.
That's heavy as shit. Dave's back is still probably giving him chronic issues because he's worn one for some of our.
No, I've just got two big Hulk muscles at the lower back and nothing else.
Unbelievable. So just the delicacy that he has. He was filming that in and out every day for like 30 or 40 days, and he was wearing that thing the entire. It's just unbelievable, the stamina. I don't know, just really, really nice.
I don't know. I mean, I've strapped myself into steady cams for a long time for something I believe in as well. It's just something you do, and he did it well
too.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And anything anybody wants to say about the movie, about Amazon, or anything, all these other bullshit that's out there on Twitter.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later.
Awesome.
We'll get to that later.
Looks awesome.
That's in the dirty. Really well that's in the dirty tricks segment.
Yeah. So let's keep it rolling. So the next category, if you guys scroll up. Also, by the way, Dave, my microphone went out for like a third of a second because it said it was disconnected. So we're gonna sync this bad boy back up.
Sweet.
Use my
okay. Yeah. Looking forward to doing that tomorrow.
You can put my backup audio in, and I'm sure it'll sync up. Anyway, let's do visual effects. Okay, so I'm going to say the nominees while we all vote.
I'm just going to find that.
Visual effects. It's right up. Scroll up. It's Love and Monsters.
Up. Okay.
The Midnight Sky. Mulan.
Nope. That's
the
not
one and only Ivan.
There it is.
And Tenet. All right, so let's see.
Whew. Yeah, see, I didn't see a lot of these.
Yeah.
I also didn't see a couple of these either.
Yeah.
John saw Tenet, though.
I did see Tenet, and Dave's coming in with me on Midnight Sky. All right, we got 2-1. Dave and I went Midnight Sky. Jeff went Tenet.
So we've been hearing so much. I know Midnight Sky's campaign for this award is the reason that we saw this goddamn movie. I saw it twice. It has a technically rotten review. I know it's not the best metric for reviewing films. We should not be promoting, partisan outlooks on these movies anyway. But if there's one thing we know about Tenet is that Christopher Nolan demanded a lot of his visual effects, and this is a award specific to those artists. And I think the Academy is going to respect them, even if the movie wasn't praised well.
I mean, also we should point out that a lot of Tenet stuff is done practically in camera as well. Because he's very big on that, and that does qualify under a visual effects, like it practical and digital, are all kind of squashed into one for this award. So yeah, you might be right. It may cross the line. Midnight Sky, I think for me, it's like I just like the out there look and the fact that the visual effects aren't relied on. It's just a piece of the art in that film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Is that up for production design? I can't remember because it really should be. The design of that ship is phenomenal.
I know where the production design is. You guys keep going.
Yeah, we'll get there.
It is not.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't think
not.
it was.
That's
which
an
was kinda
oversight.
surprising.
Hmm.
So when we initially were kind of coming into this, I had initially thought in my head, for the practical reason that I should probably do Tenet. That movie frustrated me so much that I don't know if I want to enable it by giving it any kind of credit. So because I was torn between the two of them, I think I'm feeling pretty good about Cohen's Midnight Sky.
I'm still buzzing you for that.
Yeah.
I think so
I don't
too.
know, you guys. It frustrated the shit out of me. I just felt like Chris went way too far. So I just don't know. I don't know. I did see, we saw Mulan earlier this year, and I wouldn't be shocked if that came out and snuck an award through. I know it got some PC issues, but like
they've got the budget for the campaign.
Visually.
I should have talked about the voting a little bit, which we could talk more about when we get to the actors. But so here's how everybody votes, just so it's clear. You nominate in your category. So if you're admitted to the Academy, let's say I'm a cinematographer, I can only nominate cinematographers for movies that I see. But once you have the ballot, after the nominations are out, everybody gets to vote on all the categories. So for that reason, I can see Mulan getting its own industry endorsement, understanding the level of the work, and I can see the rest of the Academy going, fuck you, you filmed in Xinjiang and you thanked the province of Xinjiang and the Chinese government. Go fuck yourself, I'm not giving this award. Right. And I think that happens more than ever the past couple of years, where people are allowed to make these kind of political statements on the margins, not writ large. I think they still see that there was good stuff in that film. But I see a lot of other people, if there's any reason to not vote for it, I see them voting for the other thing. So I think Mulan's out.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you're probably right. And just to clarify, because we were talking about this last week, you said when they get to the short list, you only vote in your category, or was that a correction?
Opposite.
That
was I think I messed that up recently in a different podcast. Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying last week, unfortunately, is true that there's a lot of people who are not in the specialty that will get to vote on a specialty award, which is, I don't know. I personally think that's ridiculous. I think a lot of actors have no idea, how technical things are done. They're just talking about how they responded as an audience member. And I just don't think that's as potent of a response as somebody who actually works in that technical side of the filmmaking.
I don't know. I disagree. I feel like if you're sitting there watching a film with whiz-bang visual effects and you're like, how the fuck did they do that? Which is a segment we have.
Yeah.
It's a valid response. It's like, that was awesome. That really made the film for me. I think it deserves a nomination. So I feel like actors are more qualified than...
I know what you mean, but it's like sometimes like with an acting performance, like if somebody screams a lot and they seem really over, like really dramatic, that is the most obvious performance, but something real subtle and understated. The actor, some of the actors might say, no, that's way more difficult than screaming. I don't know. I'm just assuming it's true. It doesn't matter. There's different ways to do this. We're excited. We're going to keep rolling.
Yeah. So here we go, people. We are now getting into the chunk. We're getting into the acting categories pretty early in this pod. So we are going to be talking our way through them. Here's going to be the order of all four of these. We're going to do, this is just the order on our sheet here. Supporting actor, lead actor, supporting actress, lead actress. Those are the next four categories. So actor in a supporting role. The nominees are Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for being the lead in Judas and the Black Messiah.
It's voter fraud, and
so funny, dude.
All right, so
I'm glad we saw this movie before the category fraud just totally fucked this whole category. There's a weird asterisk on this now, even though Dave, you haven't voted yet. Even though it's got to be Daniel Kaluuya. I don't care who you voted for, Dave. It's got to be Daniel Kaluuya. He's won every other award. He's won the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, SAG. He's won everything. It's going to be Daniel Kaluuya. I wanted Paul Raci. That's who you're voting for, Dave. Great. I love Paul Raci. Talk about a subtle performance, doing your goddamn job. Paul Raci, what a fucking hero. But Daniel Kaluuya was awesome. He's going to win. Lakeith Stanfield's category fraud in this is so fucked that whatever. It's a weird category.
You're totally right, dude. No, you're totally right.
I mean, yeah, it was there was a powerhouse performance, but also like as a supporting actor, I feel like Paul Raci might get there.
You're absolutely right. It could happen for sure.
I doubt. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say that I have that same confidence. I just feel like for a good reason, the way we are getting to see so many point of views from minorities and people of color this year that are so awesome. I feel like this is just the apex of that. This movie, even in spite of the
That's
category
fair.
fraud, just two amazing performances in a story that maybe wouldn't have been produced before. Daniel was, and I mean this in the most respectful way, he fucking owned every single scene that he was in. He ate up every moment he possibly could. It's just one of those undeniable supporting actor performances. You know, if we're going to say it's supporting actor, like I would be shocked if he didn't win, which is a shame just because this is why awards suck and why I'm thankful for some of the film festivals where Paul maybe did get a nod, because it's fucking ridiculous sometimes that we have to put these up against each other. It's such a different kind of supporting actor performance, and I don't want either of them to think that they weren't fucking amazing at it. But
I mean, as we said, like I feel like I enjoyed Sound of Metal more than Judas and the Black Messiah.
Me too.
And as a film in total, and this is who we want to win, and that's who I would like to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm glad you went with your gut there, dude.
All right, I'm gonna go on a limb though and say Lakeith and Sacha Baron Cohen have no chance. No disrespect to them, but just that's how Oscars go. And Leslie Odom Jr. is not likely.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Even though he again fantastic, but
yeah, fantastic. But I mean, he sings in that movie as Sam Cooke in a One Night in Miami, folks. Leslie Odom Jr. sings in it and turns in a good performance. But we had a gentle conversation about, you know, what the play aspect of it, and if it really pulled apart, if anyone really pulled away from it, if Regina King really turned it into the movie thing. And I don't know, I felt like Leslie Odom Jr. was a cast member in a play, and that's one reason why I feel like these other two performances really stood out for me so much, because each of them had certain cinematic ways of talking or not talking, depending on the movie you're discussing, that made me feel like they weren't just great acting, and there wasn't just a genius director and cinematographer pointing cameras at them. They understood how to use the camera and to use camera acting. That was so powerful. I was giving Daniel Kaluuya a little bit of shit about the big speeches and everything, but some of my favorite moments of his are when he's real quiet with his partner, that girl.
Yeah.
Or when he's kind of alone and he's just kind of, you can see him just trying to raise the money for the kids, you know, and like the tiny moments, not the giant we are revolutionaries moments. So I don't know. I
loved his speech to the white supremacist group. He was very calm, surprisingly like relaxed, where he was like, if this building's on fire right now, are you going to care about the skin color of the person who comes to save you? Like, that was really cool. Kaluuya's a force over this. He's going to win, but Dave, I'm with you. Paul Raci, go.
Dude, if Paul Raci won, I would be like, fuck yeah, I would be super proud of him and happy for it. I love Sound of Metal.
I'd be happy though, although the storyline's all right. So non-white actors and actresses could very well sweep. And so that is something that is in play here. Now, I'm not saying that's affecting the way people are voting specifically, but that is on the table here. And so another plus if Daniel Kaluuya gets it.
Absolutely.
Let's go into actor in a leading role. Actor in a leading role: Riz Ahmed, Sound of Metal; Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom; Anthony Hopkins, The Father; Gary Oldman, Mank; and Stephen Yeun, Minari. Two notable storylines here. You have Anthony Hopkins is the oldest ever nominee at 83 years old for this category, and Stephen Yeun is the first, at least presenting Asian person that's ever been in this category.
Yeah.
So
we're voting right now, folks. Go to silence.
Yeah.
I know you guys are voting for who you want. I'm voting for who I think is going to win.
That's cool. Just as long as we defend it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think everybody's going to dig it. All right. I think I see the votes coming in here. Jeff is going for who he just said, who he thinks is going to win, which is Chadwick Boseman and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Nobody's going to be mad about that. He won the SAG award. Everybody's kind of expecting it. The legend himself passed away last year. Like, you know, what a great way to honor him. But Dave decided to go with Anthony Hopkins for The Father, who I think I made a comment last week. It's like an undeniable performance. Like if he hadn't won an Academy Award before, I think he would be a shoo-in, like an absolute. We're giving it to him, not just because of politics, but good God, at 80 something, he turns in that kind of performance. And I voted for Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal. So we have 3 different votes here.
Yep.
And I don't think any of us would be mad if any of them won.
No.
Right.
No. This is a category where it's like, holy crap, I got to watch some amazing performances, and any one of these guys could take it.
Yeah. Dave, why'd you love Anthony so much? I mean, we just did an episode about it, but coming into this vote, what really turned it over for you?
It's the fact that he didn't have me at the beginning and won me over.
Nice, dude.
And because at the beginning I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this, and then he just fucking got me, and it was so
he was so good. Hall of Fame performance, really. It's like,
and Jeff, also he nailed the performance too.
I mean, unbelievable. All the way up to his final monologue in the very last scene. It just gets like more and more complicated and interesting, and good God. A real legend of his craft. I don't know how many times outside of like play scripts we get to see performances like that, just showing you how it's done.
The Oscars Club is a real thing. It influences voters. It wasn't a script. The Oscar voter, the club, the Oscars Club thing is a very real thing. And so if you have an Oscar, it's harder to win a second. Not that it's never happened, obviously. It's happened a lot. Gary Oldman's not going to win because he had one. He won it kind of recently. And so it's there's too much else going on in here for that. And Stephen Yeun is just it's just probably not going to be his year given everything else in this category, but it's so awesome that they're obviously nominated. But Riz Ahmed, Chadwick Boseman, Anthony Hopkins, like that three. I can tell
you, the reason I didn't pick Stephen Yeun is because I felt like he was almost a supporting actor.
Yeah. In a beautiful way.
Exactly.
Like he's not in it as much as I thought like a lead actor should be. So that kind of put me off picking him because it was a great performance, but it wasn't there as often as I thought it was going to be.
Right. Whereas as Riz and Anthony Hopkins both had, the whole movie was their point of view. They were in every frame. And then Chadwick did the play thing where he had to rise above the ensemble status to kind of claim the lead status. He had a couple rousing monologues, a couple incidents that happened. So any of those three, really, it's fantastic. I think it's going to be Chadwick, but any of those three.
Jeff, if you had to go with, I'm just curious, who do you want to win? Who would it still be Chadwick or?
I mean, Riz blew me away, but honestly, I would probably go with Anthony Hopkins. I thought that was an all-time performance, but not only is he in the club, he is in the club for Hannibal Lecter, which is one of the most iconic characters of all time. So like you can retire on that and not need any more.
I feel you.
So
let me go to bat. Let me go to bat.
You're saying there's a club, but like how many's Meryl Streep got now?
She's got 3, but she also was nominated over 20 times. Yeah. And so her third nomination got her second win. And then she went almost 20 nominations before getting another one. So that is a very real thing that she was, it's hard to get that next one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it with Frances McDormand soon.
Daniel's ratio is probably crazier, but that's that's once in a generation kind of thing. I'm going to go to bed really quickly for Riz, even though I know you guys say you love it, but just teaching acting, I just feel like this is a perfect lesson and something that I have to end up talking about usually at the end of acting classes where people go through this whole process, 4 to 6, hour-long sessions of performing scenes, and we're talking about character work and blah, 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 blah. And we usually spend a lot of time as actors trying to get rid of our preconceived notions of how to play a character. We usually have to break down walls of expectations and stuff, which usually means you have to explore going a little too far. And then a lot of the questions that I get at the end of these big scene study sessions is, okay, how do you make that as big as for a close-up in camera where you can't do too much? How do you shrink it down and make it internal? And for, because so much acting is done on video nowadays. And I think that Riz Ahmed gives a masterclass on internal work, not just because of the nature of this script, because obviously he's dealing with loss of hearing. So he's around a lot of people who can't communicate with their voice. It's not just because of that, but he rises above that, what I think could have been seen as a gimmick in the a lesser actor's hands. There's so much happening to him internally that when you finally arrive, not even just the beginning where he is just being destroyed by what he's doing and he can only really deal with it internally because he can't hear what anybody's saying to him anymore. But at the very end, when it has little to do with his hearing in the scene work, the breakup with his girlfriend, the moments at the end where he starts to get... That's crazy. Yeah. The moments at the end where he's getting the implants and he's trying to understand if he's going to be able to live with this or not. And if it's too much, building up to the very last moment where he has his giant catharsis, all of that is happening behind the eyes. And I think that is cinematic film acting at its greatest. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to win because it's so subtle and it's so withdrawn that, we love the bigger ones, but I just want to give my tip hat to that guy. He nailed it.
Like you're right. Gary Oldman and Stephen are probably out, but like those three, we just proved that anyone can take it. The voting is going to be split down the middle on that.
And once again, not to just call it out, but we have a person who's elderly. We have, and 2 people who are, non-white. So I feel like it would be really sweet. Like there's good representation there. I'm really happy.
Yep. All right. Anthony Hopkins won the BAFTA, by the way. Chadwick did win the Golden Globe, and Riz has been nominated for everything but hasn't really won anything. That's what's going on. But let's get into into this next category. So we're going over to the actress category. So you have actress in a supporting role. You have Maria Bakalova, although I have heard her pronounce her name Bakovala, which I thought was awesome.
Bakalova.
God, I just fucked it up.
She
I
can
really thought I
pronounce
was
that
going to
however she wants.
Yeah, that's right. Borat, subsequent movie film. You got Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Yoo Jung-yoon for Minari. You already, if you've been following this pod, you know who I want.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it. So I voted for Glenn Close in Hillbilly Elegy. Dave and Jeff voted for Yeon Jung-yoon in Minari. And I'm going to just put it out there. I'm doing what Jeff has done this time. I think they're going to give it to Glenn because I think she's finally earned it politically. I think it's time. I think she's supposed to have it. I would like to see her win. I don't know if she will. If I was just at a film festival and we were just seeing these movies, I think I would give it up for Yeon Jung-yoon as well. I think that was a standout performance in Minari. But Glenn Close was too.
Glenn Close was. I mean, that's the unfair
yeah.
part of award ceremonies. It's like there's so many good performances. You want to just everybody get a trophy, but no. I mean, yeah, Glenn Close, and I came out swinging for Glenn Close. Like we ditched the Razzies over Glenn Close.
Yeah,
because fuck you guys. And does that count as negative? Do I have to?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay,
Drake, come on, Drake.
negative for the negative Razzies. That's I guess that counts.
Double negatives are positive. Come on.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I feel like I would if I hadn't seen Minari, I'd be all about Glenn Close right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see Minari.
Yeah. I mean, it's masterful. It's masterful.
Yeah.
And maybe I should correct myself. I don't think Glenn Close is actually going to win. I would like to see her get it, but I think that all that bullshit we talked about, all the PC stuff around Hillbilly Elegy, how nobody watched, everybody's talking shit. They probably aren't even considering her. And I bet a lot of voters decided not to give it the weight I think that film deserves, which is just real shame. But whatever.
Yeah, you might be right. So Yoo Jung-yoon won the Screen Actors Guild Award, which is obviously the guilds have the most representation when it comes to the Oscars, like as far as crossover. So a Writers Guild's a member is probably also in the Academy, or an Academy member for writing is probably also in the writing guilds, if not definitely. And so the fact that she won this SAG after not even being nominated for the Golden Globe, which by the way went to Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, who's not even nominated here. So it looks like it's leaning towards Yoo Jung-yoon if you are going to go to Vegas, which we're not. But
nope.
I think it's a two-person race. For some reason, I heard some critics say they would love Amanda Seyfried to win this. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Borat is having like a little late resurgence because I think people are giving it the credit that I guess it deserves to be all these nominations. I don't think Maria Bakalova is going to get that. So I think it's Yoo Jung-yoon. That's what I think.
I mean,
I fucking loved her.
If Maria got it, that would be the awesome upset of the year, really.
It would be
That would
fun. But I
be
think
crazy too. That would be
Yeah.
so ridiculous.
You almost want to see that happen. It's like,
I mean, yeah. All right. Anything else about this?
Alright.
Yeah, supporting actress.
No.
And then now, actress in a leading role. Now, this is the most interesting award out of the four of these to me. So the nominees are Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andrew Day for the United States.
John's just
Billie
in there.
Holiday.
He's not even waiting. You
Yeah.
know this update's live,
Vanessa
right?
Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand, Nomadland, Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. So the reason that this is, if you're actually looking at this from what's been going on,
This is hard.
Viola Davis won the Screen Actors Guild Award, which Andrew Day was not nominated for. Andrew Day won the Golden Globe Award, and then the BAFTA, which Andrew Day was also not nominated for, went to Frances McDormand. So this award has been spread out. Also, you can't discredit Carey Mulligan because that movie has 5 nominations, and even though Emerald Fennell is getting a lot of credit and recognition for writing and directing it, a lot of it does come down to Carey Mulligan as she was the mantle on which this was placed. So you have basically 4 people who could win this award. Sorry, Vanessa Kirby, you were awesome in this movie, but I think there are 4 people who could win it. Let's see what you do.
I mean,
Dave, he's doing it. Do it, baby.
Wow.
because that's the key I hit. But
all right, so I voted immediately for Andrew Day in the United States versus Billie Holiday. Jeff did as well. And then we got the rogue vote from Dave for Frances McDormand in Nomadland. Dave, why are you going for her?
Mainly because she her performance was 100% natural in an environment of working with first-time actors, and she fit into them and worked them. Like, it wasn't just the director working them; it was her as well. So I feel like that's a performance where you have to think on your feet as well as deep dive for that performance, and I feel like she pulled it off.
I think you're right, dude. I heard her in an interview recently, and she was talking about how she's actually kind of uncomfortable with improv. So when Chloe Zhao was approaching her, Chloe and Josh were approaching her, talking about their method and kind of how they like to develop storylines based on real life, happenings with non-actors. Frances was obviously aware that, like, okay, I'm going to be put in situations where I have to just kind of listen to these people's stories and play with them. And apparently she was kind of nervous because she doesn't feel like that's her forte as an actor. And I respect it so much because I never saw her once try to overcompensate if that is a true insecurity for her and her technique. Right. I think she listened so well and decided, I'm just going to be present for these people. And if something happens, it happens. And it ended up giving us a really strong point of view on this niche of people that I knew nothing about before I saw this movie.
If it helps, it was almost a three-way tie on this one because, Andra Day's performance is phenomenal. And to nail that voice like she did and give that performance, and that was magical. But
I think the Oscars club thing is going to come in here with Franny, who has two already, including one recent, which again, Meryl Streep, and even Daniel had a little bit of a separation. And Daniel's third for Lincoln. It was up against Bradley Cooper for Sibling Linings Playbook, Hugh Jackman for Les Mis. Like, it just seemed like it's really hard to get that third. It took Jack 20
Jackman
years.
Got nominated for Les Mis?
Buzz. So in this particular category, again, if there's any reason to vote for somebody else, I think they're going to take it. So I think Frances McDormand's out. Now, she very well could win. I think it's between Viola Davis and Andra Day, even though none of us chose Viola Davis. She does one of these things in this movie where there is subtlety. She's very fast talking, but how many times does Jeremy Shamos' character say, like, wow, we want to do this, we want to do that? And she said, I don't care, I'm going to do this. This is what I do. I'm the one recording. And she resists until it's that immaculate time, which is a good combination of theatrical and film. Absolutely. Because you need to have those shouts in order to give a quote unquote Oscar worthy, like in the traditional sense, Oscar worthy performance, which she does rise to that. But she also plays with the subtlety that she probably wouldn't be able to get away with as much on stage. And she does it in like 20 minutes of screen time. She is still not only the title character, but a lead, if not the lead, even more so than Chadwick in this movie, having a very small amount of screen time relative to everybody else in the cast. I think it speaks volumes, and I think it's a two-person race. I'm
going to go back to what I said when we were talking about United States of Billie Holiday, which I think is why it's just locked for her, is that Viola builds a character, and obviously it's specific and it's everything you want. I just don't think the character on screen has the same arc that Andra Day is allowed to bring to screen with the screenplay of United States versus Billie Holiday. So I once again, I think it's a little bit of a shame because there are some amazing performances in this category, but I think whenever you nail a really well-written biopic, it's almost undeniable. Like, it's just like, get out of the way. If you can really bring somebody to life that well, especially somebody that iconic, which it is ridiculous that her voice sounded that much like her, but it's not her voice that nailed it for me. It's she had an ease about her as Billie Holiday that was almost unsettling. It was like, are you actually Billie Holiday? I didn't feel like she was working at all. It was crazy.
Right.
I've never seen a lot of stock footage of Billie Holiday off the stage, and I really felt like we were watching like a documentary. It was fucking ridiculous. So I'm going to stick with that vote. Although again, if Viola won, fuck it.
That's a toughly contested category because like we have seen all these films, and it like to pick between them. Like I was sitting there while we were about to pick, going, shit, I want to just X the entire column.
So, Viola's also in the club, voted the category fraud when she won.
And shout out to, I totally agree with you with Carey Mulligan. I'm not concerned at all. She's going to get one eventually. And I just don't want her to get it for this film compared to these other ladies. I don't know if I want to give it to her, but she's going to get there eventually. She's a fucking freak in nature. I can't wait to see the rest of her career.
All right, friends, on to writing. So the next two categories are going to be our writing categories.
Right. Where is writing in this document?
Just scroll up.
Okay.
Just keep scrolling up. Damn. So original screenplay and then
shot at me, you son of a bitch.
Original screenplay: Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm definitely doing it who I think should win this one.
Oh wow, nice, dude. All right, I have entered. Jeff has entered. We're putting the pressure on Mr. Dave. He's doing it. Oh, he joined me. Dave and I are both voting for Aaron Sorkin's screenplay.
I never thought I would
7.
pick an Aaron Sorkin.
I'm so happy you did, though. I was going to call you out for that. I was going to add. So Dave has come around. Aaron Sorkin, Trial of Chicago 7, and Jeff voted for Promising Young Woman.
I famously only sat through the first 20-25 minutes of The Social Network. So
yeah.
And which he won it for. So again, he's the only one in the club on this list.
I'm going to go to bat here. I was very torn between Minari and Trial of Chicago 7 because I fucking loved Minari. I love Sound of Metal too, and we'll get to that later. I think that might be my favorite movie of the year, but I thought the Minari script was excellent. I just feel like that conversation we nailed it when we were talking about. Aaron Sorkin is getting better and better and better. He's already a fucking freak, probably a prodigy of his generation. And then he writes this script, which doesn't even seem like a Sorkin script. He's transcending himself. And I just feel like we just have to give it up for him. I mean, I know he's always nominated, but he's typically nominated for adaptations recently anyway. I feel like he's usually basing them off of books, Social Network, Moneyball, and what was the one after that? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Trial of Chicago 7, original. I'm so excited for him. I hope he wins it. I want the world to know that he's one of the greatest screenplay writers of all time. And I think he needs this award to prove that. He's probably going to win at least one more before, within the next 10 or 20 years. But I want him to have multiple screenplay awards. I think he deserves to have that award.
Dave?
I mean, as far as screenplay goes, Chicago 7 held me and it did all the right things.
It does nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Right. We can at least say that for sure. Maybe you don't. Yeah. You didn't love every moment, but it does nothing wrong.
That's the thing. Like for me, it was like my top 3 if I had to pick would have been Chicago 7, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Judas is probably not going to win, even though it was an awesome movie. I really love Minari too, so maybe that could be on the list. I did see that Promising Young Woman won the Writers Guild Award, so that's usually the biggest tell. Last year, both Writers Guild winners went on to win the Oscar.
Are you just watching the other award ceremonies and cheating at this game?
I didn't mean to cheat.
This is how all the Gold Derby guys do it too, though. You got to. I
didn't mean to cheat at this, but it's informative to this. I think that this could be the year that all of that stuff matters the least.
Yeah.
But all bets are off this year.
I think all bets are off, but I think Promising Young Woman is going to get the love because it's a good subject matter. It's an interesting idea. I think some of the characters are really interesting, and I think anything that we said about the film where it didn't nail it for specifically John and I, maybe not so much Dave, that could be a director versus a writing thing.
It could, although I was just about to say I think the moments that took me out of the movie a little bit were on the script.
Maybe
that moment. Yeah, sure. That moment with Carey Mulligan goes to visit her friend's mother, who's played by superstar
Molly Shannon.
Molly Shannon. On the script, I just didn't feel like you got to get over this. But there were a few moments where I felt like they were kind of.
I think that's okay.
Toward the. I don't know.
But that's in line with the rest of the story because she needs to move on. That's the point. Like, why can't she's never going to be able to get over this because she's in too deep because of the trauma. And I didn't mind that, but
I mean, for me, it was the thing that like pushed me down a little bit on Promising Young Woman was the neatly packaged happy ending. As such, like, I mean, granted, not a happy ending, but like
happy ending.
the neatly packaged revenge ending, if you like.
Yeah, but all these other ones, and I agree with you, Jeff. I totally agree with you. I don't think Judas has the stuff to pull it out of here. I think the competition is happening with the other 4. I did not think about the screenplay a single time during Minari, Sound of Metal, or Trial of Chicago 7. I was just watching a movie. I think I did think about it with the other 2, maybe once or twice. Not in a bad way. They're still fucking wonderful movies, and I'm a huge fan. But I feel good about my vote. I hope he gets it. But Jeff, you're probably right. I would not be surprised if she won.
We'll see.
I wouldn't be shocked.
All right, adapted screenplay. You have Borat, subsequent movie film. You have The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, The White Tiger. I also know which won the WGA, but I'm not picking it, just so you guys know.
Yeah, that's
Shit, this was
crazy.
hard.
This is a
one-
hard
This one's
one.
really hard.
one. Like,
Adapted
I mean,
screenplay.
Borat,
folks.
granted, we
Nomadland,
haven't seen The White
Miami,
Tiger,
White
so
Tiger.
this is not entirely
John and I
perfect.
have.
Yeah,
Oh, you have?
I have
Okay.
it.
John and I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Son of a bitch. I think I'm gonna. All right, I'm voting,
I'm with you. That's where I was leaning.
and I have a very specific reason, and it's not. It might not be a good reason, but it's the only reason I have, I think, in this category. All right, so Jeff and I both voted for Nomadland for adapted screenplay, and Dave voted for One Night in Miami. The reason I voted for Nomadland is because I had no idea that was not an original screenplay.
Yeah.
I had no
Fair.
idea it was based on a story. It didn't watch like that. It doesn't feel like that. So for some reason in my head, I immediately think that's impressive that I didn't know this is based on a story. It feels like I feel like Chloe Zhao and Josh created their entire new kind of movie. So the fact that it's adapted is blowing my mind. Dave, why are you feeling so strongly about One Night in Miami? You feel like they just fucking nailed it?
No, I feel like it was a play adaptation that wasn't obviously a play adaptation, and there were a lot of adaptations of stage work this year.
There were some
I mean,
great, well-rounded characters in One Night in Miami.
Also, like, it just the way it was written held me. Besides the fact that I was watching the play, it felt like it was updated for the screen quite nicely. So that got me.
Guess what won the Writers Guild of America award?
Borat.
Yeah.
You know,
Borat,
how is
the
that
WGA.
adapted? Once again,
And
how is that adapted? What
it's
is that
adapted
adapted
because the IP of the first movie adapted.
Jesus
that
Christ,
counts.
okay.
There's no original Bond movie.
Wait.
I liked this Borat movie a lot. I talked about it at one point this year. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it.
His joke was, if you look, there are a lot of credited writers, because that includes people who contributed story and such. I don't know how many can actually win an Oscar.
So if you improvise your first movie and then have a second one,
they
storyboard. They based it on a storyboard.
They storyboard all these situations. So even though there is,
that is some loophole bullshit.
Isn't that
he won the WGA. Well, anyway, when Sacha Baron Cohen got up to accept, he said, because there were so many credited writers in the film, he said, I probably won because half of you were credited in this movie. So he basically was poking fun at himself. I mean, honestly, it could happen, because one thing about Nomadland that keeps coming up is that people keep talking about, oh, it's too kind to Amazon, it's too kind to this. One thing that I'm voting for is it's adapted. And also the character liked working for Amazon. So why should the director shit on them?
Yeah, we'll talk about that once the votes are done, because I've got a rant about that, because that's fucking ridiculous.
Okay. So anyway, it's the book. This is her. She's a seasonal Amazon employee, and then she didn't have problems filling the gaps between the seasons. Anyway, but Borat is political, so I can see people leaning towards that if they have the option.
And to Sacha Baron's, I remember I made this joke, you guys. There's actually like an emotional turn in this Borat. There's like a lesson that Borat learns. Like
I
weird.
haven't seen it
like
yet.
A movie ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a fun time watching it. Enjoy.
Right.
It's like is it like the Wayne's World ending? Like, I've learned something today.
Honest, yes. Yeah, there's like, literally Borat learns a life lesson.
Let's do the mega happy ending.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. Just let's just call it the sexism of the first movie, which was satirical. So I'm not calling the creator sexist, but my wife, she's the #1 prostitute in all of Kazakhstan, like, doesn't speak fondly to women. And I think he's calling out cultures and us allowing other cultures to be derogatory to women and still continuing to trade and work with them. And I believe that only because of what's off the screen. But in this, he's with his daughter, who he has to come to terms with the fact that modern women are different. And they do it subtly enough, but also being hilarious and satirical, that it's not just about the event of that. And it's not just about the message, but I think they handle that really well.
Yeah.
Really well.
And he has all the shit going on with the pandemic, the commentary of the Trump presidency and the pandemic and everything. It's very cathartic for a viewer as well, which is always plays well in awards.
If you didn't like the first one,
you're not
going to like the second one.
Yeah. I didn't mind the first one. I just haven't got around. I don't know. I feel like the pandemic ruined me for stuff that's just a little too fucking real.
I feel you, dude.
Up until now, and
at least this real shit is hilarious though. Like he's making fun of all the
shot. I'm vaccinated against being offended, so You know,
I got my second vaccine the other day too. You guys,
Woo,
I'm feeling
yeah.
greedy.
Nice.
I want to go to
Everybody do what we
bat.
did. Be like John.
I want to go to bat real fast for the White Tiger because I did really enjoy watching this movie.
Yeah.
I've never read, the original material by any means, but I thought it was very captivating. I don't know if it went as far as it could possibly have gone, depending on how judicious it was with the original material. Maybe that is literally how it ended. I was a little let down with the very end of the film, but it was a small issue. It just didn't go. It didn't transcend itself by the end of it. But up until that point, I thought it was very well told, and I really enjoyed the story a lot. So I don't know. I thought they made a fun movie. If that was literally based on a book, I thought they made a really cool movie out of that.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
whatever. I'm still going for No Man Land for sure.
all right, let's keep it rolling. We're about halfway done, guys, so we probably should pick up the pace a little bit. But now the categories are going to start to get a little smaller, at least as far as movies that we've seen, because we didn't make it a point to see necessarily every one of these categories, except we have seen all of our film editing nominees, which is next. We have The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, Trial of the Chicago 7. Historically, film editing and Best Picture used to be linked, but in the past 10 years or so, that has not necessarily been the case. Notable winners of this include Whiplash, for instance, won, who did not win Best Picture. So let's see what happens with you guys. I'm actually going for this.
Nice, dude. Good for you. Good for you.
All right, Dave, always the holdout. Here we go.
Oh shit. Okay.
All right, we got three different ones.
Three
Yeah,
different
let's do
ones.
it. Film editing, 3 different votes. I voted for Nomadland. Dave voted for Trial of Chicago 7, and Jeff voted for Sound of Metal. Jeff, give me your reason. What are you feeling?
Well,
I love Sound of Metal. Why is it the film editing though?
Because you know what? Maybe it's because of Whiplash. Now, Whiplash, I think, might have won because of this the sound element of it, which is even more musical than this movie is. Sound of Metal, which is about a rocker, but like was not as much of that. However, it's a delicate touch and it's a fine line where this movie could have just been kind of a boring slice of life, one of those film features that you see at the festivals and people go, okay, but what's your next movie? And this movie is really tight. The pacing of this is really, really, really well done, especially as they cut to him losing his hearing and how he's coping with the close-ups versus wide. I feel like the way it comes together is going to put it over the top.
I feel you, dude. I would not be upset about that at all. Dave,
Yeah.
what do you feel? Trial of Chicago 7?
I mean, Trial of Chicago 7 is nominated for at least the first 20 minutes. Like the editing and to get you into that film is phenomenal. It tells you everything you need to know in 20 minutes.
Yes.
And gets you there. And from that point on, they managed to make a courtroom scene just fun to watch. And like I use the word fun, but it's devastating.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah,
no, I know what you mean.
It holds your interest. And for me, that's
I heard David Fincher interview for the DGA. I heard David Fincher interview Aaron Sorkin on Trial of Chicago 7.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought Fincher put it perfectly. He said, you tell comedic stories about very serious subject matter. That's why you're a fucking genius. The way you write your screenplays and the way you tell your stories, there is a fun element to very serious topics. And that's why I totally agree with you. And the reason we know it's airtight is because, once again, I was on the edge of my seat in that movie a lot of times. It's not just Aaron Sorkin's dialogue and the pace of the way he actually writes a script. Although I bet he wrote in a lot of these edits, especially in that first 20 minutes, just because he's the man. But you're right, dude. I did not once for 1 second think about anything other than this movie while I was watching it.
But I mean,
totally
also,
immersed.
like the thing is, Aaron Sorkin is famously dialogue based,
right?
But in this movie, they managed to do the show don't tell as well, in reactions and cutaways and stuff like that. So I feel like that might get them over the line. Just like it wasn't just the dialogue that made you hate the judge. It was his reaction to things where he didn't even speak, and just little things where they knew exactly how to push your buttons.
I completely agree. I'm going to go for, I voted for Nomadland, and I'll probably say this again. I've already said it before. I think every now and then filmmakers come along and challenge and change form. And I don't know how I can separate the editing from the overall best picture and cinematography quality. I feel like what they did, I mentioned it when we were talking about the actual movie and the individual episode. I could never catch up with Frances McDormand. Do you guys remember me making
Mhm.
that comment about how I never got a chance to reflect with her because it cut too quickly? I thought that was
Yeah, the
extremely
cutting. Yeah.
effective. It made me feel very uneasy. I never got to really see her catch up to how she felt outside of a few very choice moments. And I felt like I was watching a very fresh idea. There are definitely
Yeah.
other auteurs and European directors that I think she's taking some influence from, but I'm definitely prepared to say that this was a different kind of film than I've seen before. And I think the editing is the award. If I wanted to win editing, maybe more than anything else, if it wins anything.
I really love the way that they would, even though it's a quote unquote slow paced film, they would always cut to something in motion to let you know that this story is moving. It's not standing still. We're going to get through a year of this person's
even
life.
if it's just even if it's just physical motion for sure, but also just emotional motion. Like sometimes it would just cut to her in her van in like this chaotic moment, and you had to kind of catch up. And I just thought it was so interesting. I just haven't seen a movie like that in quite a long time. I don't think I've been watching it.
It wasn't just cutting to landscapes. It wasn't just cutting to landscapes. All right,
But when it did.
But when it did, it earned the one. And when it did,
yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get into some of these other categories. So we got costume design. Now, of course, not a lot of big budget movies did not get released this year, which usually costume design, set design, all those kinds of things. Production design, I mean. Costume design, Emma, which came out early in the year. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, Pinocchio. What Pinocchio is this?
I know it's a remake. Everybody kept talking about it. Nobody saw it. Yeah, the live action one that no one saw, but everyone said it was good.
I think it's a 2-3 person race. I think I'm going to go with this.
I think that's a really good guess.
I'm going to guess again, just guessing no to Mulan and Pinocchio. Mulan for reasons I've already said. I'm sure it's brilliant, but nice.
Jeff and I, Dave and I both voted for Mank, the period piece, Herman Mankiewicz story. And Jeff voted for Emma, the Jane Austen period piece.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
It's sort of a safe bet. I mean,
I didn't see Emma. It was a
gorgeous. I was this close to going Mulan.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely possible.
I almost did too. I just feel like this is one of those categories that maybe I'm going with my not as much with my heart. I feel like Mank is probably going to win just because it's a period piece. And
I think Ma Rainey might win.
I think you're right.
Yeah, you're
fair. Might as well
like
too.
Again, it's open to almost everyone. I haven't seen Pinocchio. I can't vouch for that.
The costumes were specific in Ma Rainey without it being about the costumes, which it is in Emma. Emma, it is about the costumes. So maybe the tides are turning as far as like the showy period piece winning.
You're right. There's also way more men in Mank than there are women, and we tend to give this award to films that are dominated with female period piece dresses and stuff, and
they just take more time too, and
yeah, it's just more time. There's more interesting stuff. I wouldn't be mad about all three of these. I think Emma, Ma Rainey's, or Mank are probably going to take it. I would be surprised if Mulan won, but I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. That was very colorful. I really enjoyed everyone. It was.
I mean, again, a lot of people are getting free iPad Pros to vote for Mulan.
Yeah.
So.
And the reason you can only vote in your category is because if everybody could vote, they would not have nominated Pinocchio. So kudos to all of the costume designers for nominating.
Jesus Christ,
all right,
dude.
Let's keep it moving. Makeup and hairstyling. Pretty similar category, not surprising. So Emma, Hillbilly
My
Elegy.
scroll is out of control. Sorry.
No worries.
There we
Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Pinocchio. Ooh, good.
Oh yeah. So that was going to be my other vote. So I went alone, and I voted for Hillbilly Elegy. Dave and Jeff voted for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. What are you gonna say, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, Hillbilly Elegy is a valid selection because that was my one big thing when we got to the end of the movie and they showed a photo of the actual grandma, and the the makeup and styling of Glenn Close was amazing.
Yeah.
That would be my second choice.
And what's her name? Jesus Christ, who was her daughter? Help me out.
Amy Adams.
And wait, sorry, in which movie?
In Hillbilly Elegy.
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams looked just like her as well.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that they looked exactly like the real characters. Again, my Southern roots were just bleeding all over this movie. I knew these people. I went to public education with these people. I mean, they nailed it. I did not once feel like Hollywood was making a movie version of the people who lived in that area of town, who came from that part of the country. That's exactly what I felt like I grew up around. So I don't know.
Right.
But Ma Rainey's is probably going to win, and I'm not upset about it. I think it's fucking wonderful.
I think it's a lot of this winter has been a lot about one specific person or thing. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking Darkest Hour for Gary Oldman looking like Winston Churchill. I'm thinking of the Meryl Streep movie, the Iron Lady. One for makeup and hairstyling. So I think Ma Rainey's got it.
Because of Viola? Are you saying that because of Viola?
Because, Viola did some work on her own, but I think,
And you know what? This is I mean this with as much of a compliment and respect as possible. That movie smelled. The makeup and hairstyling were so good. I felt like everything. I feel like I could almost smell Viola Davis's spunk coming off of that screen.
You could see the heat in the room
do I
too
buzz
on
that?
Yeah. No way. I mean, it was.
And honestly, I bet you
I can't gush it. That'd be good.
When they submit, they submitted all the actors sweating. You know, that was all practical. That was probably they did not just crank the room up and stink that place up. Like I bet you.
I said spunk.
You could tell how hot that was.
You know what?
Yeah. No,
anyway,
I didn't. That's why I asked.
Jesus Christ! But yeah,
so
I think you're totally right. I think the sweat was everywhere.
Mank stuff in black and white. Nobody saw Pinocchio, and then Emma. I don't know. So I think we're onto something there, guys.
Moving.
All right, let's move. So now we got the music awards coming up. So song first, and then score. You got "Fight for You" from Judas and the Black Messiah. You got "Hear My Voice," The Trial of Chicago 7. You have Husavik, Eurovision Song Contest. EOC,
I cannot believe that's in there.
And Speak Now, One Night in Miami. Apparently that song is like sung now in Iceland.
It's like the national anthem now. You going for it?
Look what I just did. I've never heard any of these songs. I'm going to be totally honest with my listeners.
One of them is Dionne Warwick, who is her 12th nomination.
Yes, this is her like 12th. I was going to say, how many nominations does she have? I went for Husavik because I just think it's funny. Jeff voted for "Speak Now" from One Night in Miami. Jeff, who sings
Leslie
that song?
Odom Jr. Leslie Odom Jr. wrote it.
Of course, Leslie Odom Jr. writer, performer, and Dave went from EOC, Scene from The Life of Head. Have you actually heard that song, Dave? Or are you just going for it?
I'm going for it.
Okay. Maybe
I've
one
not
of
heard
us
that song.
Yeah,
it's a blind pick. It's like when you pick your racehorse based on the color or something.
I never know what to do with this category. I feel like I watch the Oscars partially so I can finally hear these songs performed because I have never actually heard these songs because they're usually not featured in the movies.
While we're here, I'm just going to correct the spelling mistake on this page.
I got something wrong in here too. Okay, so hold on.
How many times have I typed Messiah since we started?
You said it wrong. I corrected one of them.
Did you put the A in there? Because I'm pretty sure I got it right.
No.
Okay.
I saw the red squiggly line underneath that said it was spelled wrong. Okay. So I think I got something wrong. I think I said Dionne Warwick and I meant Diane Warren. And she wrote The Life Ahead. Diane Warren, The Life Ahead. 12th nomination. Yeah, I know. Sorry. My fault. I knew it as soon as I said it. Leslie Odom Jr. wrote One Night in Miami. Her, H.E.R., wrote Judas and the Black Messiah with other people. I think it's gonna be One Night in Miami. They've been going with subtler, emotional songs, for a while.
It's gonna be an interesting one.
We've come a long way from "My Heart Will Go On," haven't we? Did that even win that year? I don't know.
I think so. All right, let's keep it going.
Sure.
Original
That's for the earworm. You got buzzed for the earworm.
Original score. You have Defy Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul. What if I just went News of the World? I don't even remember the score for News of the World.
All right, some votes are in.
Have you all? I don't know if you guys have seen Soul. I saw Soul in December.
I saw Soul. Dave, we're waiting on you, brother.
Yeah, you are.
David, take your time. Jeff and I both voted for Soul. That is 9 Inch Nails.
Well, and it's also John Batiste.
John Batiste.
Now, John Batiste did something brilliant in this, which is part of the reason it's going to win Best Animated Feature, which is they recorded his hands playing the piano. And they used it so that Jamie Foxx, the character that Jamie Foxx voiced, you could see his hands. And apparently they tried to, match John Batiste's hands. But John Batiste,
as much as I respect John Batiste and what he did in that movie, I would consider what he did less of the score than what Agnes and
okay.
Damn, what are their names from Who
Trent
writes with
Reznor
Trent
and Atticus Ross.
And Atticus Ross. I think what they did for most of the movie, I don't know if anyone remembers, but when Jeff finally saw this movie, he was like, God damn it, I wanted more jazz, but they kill him so early that you're stuck in the soul world for so long. So most of the movie is scored by those two dudes. And it's weird. I can't believe they made that music into a kid's movie, into a Pixar movie. But I mean,
it's all influence. All of what he was doing was based on John Coltrane's idea of can you use music to transcend into the celestial realms, which is a little heady, but that's basically what the movie's about. And they accomplish it with music. And so you can give Trent and Atticus all the love you want, but I think the T set the tone. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
I've gone full left field with my pick.
And Dave is going with Defy Bloods, which Defy Bloods, this is their lone nomination because Delroy Lindo got snubbed, as did Spike and anybody else that could have been nominated. Yep. So Defy Blood's only nomination, winning for score. That would be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
I did not like that score. I'm not sure if I disliked it because of the I'm not sure if I disliked it because of the sound editing and I just didn't like how they used it, or if I thought it was just the way it was produced sounded weird to me. There was a lot of things that just distracted me with it.
All right, we're going to fly through these ones because I don't think we've seen these all. International Feature Film, Another Round, Better Days, Collective, The Man Who Sold His Skin, Quo Vadis, Aida. We didn't even write down the countries. It's going to be Another Round. Are we all voting for it? We saw it, but like... I mean,
it's the only one we saw, so I feel kind of prejudiced.
To be clear, Another Round, which is from Denmark, directed by Thomas Vinterberg, starring Mads Mikkelsen. It got a Best Director nomination.
Yeah, I'm down.
So I'm going to go ahead and say that it's the front runner in this category because enough people love this enough to nominate for Best Director as well.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but I'm pretty sure someone's like rowing their couch across the floor in the apartment above me.
I can never hear whenever you mention people.
Yeah, you always say
I can never hear it, but I believe that you hear it. I just can never hear it.
I don't know what's going on up there, but like seriously, it's like that sketch on YouTube where like give the upstairs neighbors rolling fucking bowling balls. And I'm pretty sure she's rowing her couch across the fucking floor right now. So,
shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out. All right.
Shout out to the upstairs
perfect for our next
Thanks.
Perfect for our next award. It's the Sound Award coming up right now at you. We have 5 picks. We have Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal. Let's enter our votes. Boom. Dave is holding off. Jeff and I voted for Sound of Metal. We're just waiting on Dave's vote.
That's happening.
Boom. We are a 3-way tie here.
Yeah.
Sound of Metal. I think we're all in agreement. This is like, I don't know. You can't see a movie like this that's about that subject matter without, if they had not fucking nailed the sound design, we would have been a little distracted at the very least, if not frustrated, or we would have thought it was cheap or a gimmick, and it wasn't. It was super effective. They held off as long as possible to use the most effective sound editing techniques, and they did it masterfully. Genius.
Dave, you're a sound engineer for a living. What do you think?
I think they nailed it. I mean, I don't do film sound notoriously. Like, I won't touch film sound. That's a whole other different level. I do live sound, but yeah, this film sound is thoughtful.
Yes.
Nice. Good word. Yeah. Nice.
I think if I'm being honest though, I'm not going to be shocked if Mank wins this, because if anyone who's done a little reading or listening to some podcasts and stuff, they recorded everything very specifically. So a lot of it was recorded monotone. A lot of the voiceover, a lot of the dialogue is recorded in voiceover on a soundstage to kind of get that giant echoey effect that they used to get in the old recording styles from the golden age. So they did a whole bunch of work to try to get a monotone recording sound within that soundstagey kind of echoey effect. I don't know if it worked for me, but I could see some people giving a technical nod because it was such a weird achievement.
For me, it was distracting as fuck, but
I don't know if it was totally necessary, but it was authentic. I still think Sound of Metal should get it though.
All right, animated feature: Onward, Over the Moon, a Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. So Pixar notoriously wins every time it's nominated.
Are they still making Shaun the Sheep movies like that?
Right, and it was nominated too. Is that funny? So, Wolfwalkers and Over the Moon, I've heard pretty good things about. I don't think they didn't have as much money. I think Wolfwalkers is. I should talk about shit I don't know anything about.
Yeah, no, I think. I've only seen. To be honest, wait, we're on animated short.
I saw it somewhere. I forget where it's listed. Wolfwalkers looks creepy, but like really cool.
I still want to see Onward. I heard that was good. That's Disney, right?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's
I
I
have
mean,
some like Lord of the
it's-
Rings elements that I would enjoy, but I haven't seen it yet.
No, I mean it's funny as hell, and like Tom Holland and
Pratt.
they have Chris Pratt have a ball doing this.
But
Nice.
But yeah, I
Hi,
don't know
Tom
if
Holland.
Look,
if
whenever-
it elevates above that.
I think Pete Docter, whenever he makes stuff for Pixar, he just Inside Out. He always does something that is very unusual and like the
Yeah.
adult subject matter of Soul. I don't know. I need
Yeah.
to see the
I
other
just
one,
listened-
but I feel good about my.
I just listened to a pod about Pete Docter, and he's awesome. I recommend that.
And like there's so many like Kiwi actors in that as well.
Really
Yeah, there's a ton of New Zealanders in that.
random.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
shit.
like New Zealand's getting the
Alright.
Hollywood love lately, ever since like Deadpool 2.
Nice.
dude, I love that.
I'm going to suggest we skip the animated short film because none of us have seen any of these movies.
One of
Correct.
those is
Have
on
you seen-
Netflix.
have you seen-
I should point out.
Yeah, did you text us about one?
Yeah, there's was it animated? No, it's Short is on Netflix.
Okay.
So yeah, should skip animated short because we haven't seen any of them.
Yeah, I've seen
Um,
other people make picks, but that's not about.
Yeah,
that's not
I
us.
mean,
So
I
live action
I
short.
missed the festivals that these were at. So
Same. I used to go to the IFC to watch.
I was gonna
live
say,
action
yeah, I used to go to the
shorts,
IFC in New York
Yeah.
City and watch all of them, but I didn't do
IFC's
it.
back.
but it's back.
IFC's
yeah,
back.
I saw that.
Maybe
All right,
we
we'll
could
keep
have
it-
purchased a ticket, but let's keep going. Live action short films.
Same. seen
Same
it.
deal.
Yeah.
Feeling Through, The Letter Room, The Present, Two Distant Strangers, White Eye. Which
Yeah.
one did you say was available, Dave?
Two Distant Strangers is on Netflix. I think it is.
All right.
Yeah. They.
I should watch that at some point. I'm gonna skip this one because none of us have
Yep.
seen
No, we're
it.
skipping. There, we're skipping that. 'cause we
Documentary
have not
short,
seen that.
same thing. Although I've heard
Yeah.
of Colette.
You've heard of Colette?
I know. Well, there was a movie
Or is it
recently that
just
was also
Tony
called
Collette
Colette,
you've
but
heard of?
no.
Okay.
But I'm not. I just don't know.
All right,
Yeah.
documentary feature.
Yeah.
We did not watch these on our show, but some of us have seen some of these things. I know I saw My Octopus Teacher. Time is on Amazon Prime. Crypt Camp is on Netflix.
Mm.
I did not see. I think The Mole Agent is somewhere and Collective, but I haven't seen either of those two. I'm still going to vote for My Octopus Teacher.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
seen,
know
I've
that
seen
Teacher-
I've seen some clips of that. I'm gonna put one in for that too.
Octopus
I
Teacher.
haven't seen it,
I
but I've seen
saw,
clips.
and it has won other awards. I've also seen Time win other awards.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
But apparently, all of these really are great. Like this isn't. Sometimes you can literally Google who is going to win documentary feature, and the answer is
Dude,
there.
I
But
feel like
I don't think.
documentary features are always worth watching. I
Yes.
probably have not seen enough of them, but they are
Yeah.
always
I
excellent.
saw Free Solo 3 times last year. It is so yeah. So like, do it.
Yeah, I'm excited to sit down and make have a really fun
Yeah.
day or two of just
Sometimes they avoid
back-to-back
the.
documentaries.
Sometimes they avoid really tough. Stuff like Seaspiracy wouldn't get nominated for best documentary, for instance, but usually the Oscar nominees for documentary feature are definitely worth seeing. So I would say.
Right.
All right, we have 3 more categories. So the first one before we get into director and picture here is production design.
Yeah.
So we have The Father, which if you'll remember, he has dementia. We talked about this in our podcast. So they changed the look of the apartment depending on whether or not the character thinks
Yeah.
he's in his old apartment, whether he realizes he's in the current apartment, or whether he realizes he's in his, let's call it his future nursing
And
home.
sometimes it's from room to room too. Like
It's
yeah.
so well done. You have Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So The Father, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet. I'm making my choice.
Yeah. All right. Jeff and I have voted. Jeff
Hey,
voted for
come on.
what?
Dave is always last to vote.
It's all good. I feel like I just dead air.
That's what she said.
Dead
All right.
air. So,
It's fine.
Jeff voted for Mank, and Dave voted for Mank. And you know what, guys? When I made my list ahead of time, I also voted for Mank. But while we were talking, leading
Ooh.
up to this, I think you mentioned production design earlier, and I was just kind of marinating on it. I understand why we all thought Mank
No,
is
that's
going to
fair.
win, and I could see Mank winning. It's seamless. It's period. They nail it. I never thought about the design once. I love the Randolph Hearst. I love all the shit. But I feel like what they achieved with The Father was more unique and more creative
Maybe.
than just straight up period production design. But I agree with you, and I think Mank is probably going to win. I just decided to vote for
Yeah.
The Father.
Ma Rainey doesn't seem like it would win because it mostly takes place in 2 rooms, a little bit outside, although it was brilliant what they did. I think News of the World and Tenet also, it's just not going to happen. So Mank or The Father are probably a pretty good guess. I think this is going to be the lone Mank win.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That would be fine with me. I could totally see that. Unless it
Well,
wins
10
sound.
nominations.
I could see it
Could
winning
win
sound too, but
could win sound.
all right, motherfuckers. This is it. If you have been staying with us, we appreciate it. Sorry if we bored you there with a few not quite as captivating above the line picks, but we are moving back and we are going to do 2 more. We are going to do directing and best picture. You have been hanging on just like we do every fucking Sunday for the Academy Awards. You're just waiting for these last 2 fucking awards so you can go to sleep.
We made you wait to the end. There's been some long speeches. Sorry about that. Yep.
By the way, who's hosting this year? Is anyone?
No host. Thank God.
No host.
They've
honestly,
that.
we should.
Does anyone else miss Billy Crystal? I miss him so much.
Oh hell yeah!
Of course. So here's
who doesn't miss Billy Crystal?
I read a prediction.
I'm gushing myself just for Billy Crystal. Like
me too.
Yeah.
Let's all drink for Billy fucking for that.
There is
for Billy.
It is a certainty that this is going to be the lowest rated Oscars in decades. I've read all these reviews about that, and it's mostly because most people haven't seen all the movies because some of them are available for streaming, but it all happened so late, it all happened so fast, and they've lost a lot of the.
They were really holding out on being able to do this live, like
it's crazy.
So even though people can watch anything at home, Netflix, Amazon Prime, like there's so many TV shows. It's just this is a weird year for the Oscars. So I have a feeling a lot of people are going to tune in to see who won. So therefore, I don't think we need a host because a host, if it was live, could be really entertaining and drive some viewership. But since it's not going to be live,
like the thing is, if you bounce from presenter to presenter, it's like we're waffling and really just holding up on picking this right now. It's
yeah. And I really hope it's not going to be too.
I've been wanting to bring this up to you as well because I'm not sure if you want to address it, and I think we should do it now as opposed to the very end. Bill Maher did a new rule last week that is getting a lot of traction on the socials.
I mentioned it last week.
Okay, so it's about the Debbie Downers. He was basically went on a rant saying the Oscars makes sad movies, and especially now with all the
Oscars make sad movies. They don't make any movies, by the way.
I mean,
fuck exactly. Bill Maher.
Yeah, so I think he was saying like, you want us to come back to the movies, give us something to root for, and he was trying to be very specific regarding in terms of inclusivity and cancel culture, and just talking about you're so woke. The last line of his new rule was, if you're so woke, then why am I so asleep? And he was basically saying it's hard to stay awake for these. I like Bill Maher.
You're so asleep because you're an angry old fucking man.
Aside from the fact that Bill Maher is turning into a crankier, older version of himself,
he's getting crankier.
I do think that Oscars are one of the few times of year when we're not expecting escapism to take home all the awards. That's what blockbuster seasons are for, and we love them for that. So I do think that these movies, although maybe they were difficult for some people to watch during a very emotional year, I still feel like I got a lot. I thought this was a good Oscar season.
It's like
I was very happy about
the theaters were closed and the studios they held off on all this stuff because they wanted to recoup their profits, which is what they're all about. And suddenly we got some good fucking indie cinema, and you're complaining? Fuck you.
I think we got great indie cinema.
Great indie cinema, dude.
I really don't think Minari was slow for sure, but I don't think it was as sad as people are saying. No. And I also don't think I don't think Minari was as sad either. Like I think it was beautiful.
You said Minari twice. What were we talking about before that?
Sorry.
What was the first? Nomadland. Sorry.
I mean, it was touching and it wasn't uplifting. Promising Young Women, nothing sad. So the whole Debbie Downer thing. I mean, Judas and the Black Messiah is a fantastic title. That was really like a gut punch. Like it was really a crazy movie. One Night in Miami, like I don't see these movies being as down as he did. I have a feeling he didn't see all these movies.
Yeah, Bill, I'm sorry. I'm sorry we made you feel something.
I know. Yeah. And
Another Round is nominated for Best Director. Like, come on. There's no way that he's a.
And drama is harder. I'm just going to go back. Yeah. Every time people have this conversation about like the comedy versus drama or the uplifting versus the intense and sad, it reminds me of this interview that De Niro gave. I think it may have been Actors Studio, where they were like, "What's harder, comedy or drama?" We hear people talk about this all the time, and do you have an opinion? You're like a master. And he's like, and De Niro was like, "Look, it was way easier to go in and yell at Billy Crystal than it is to go in and do a dramatic, performance over and over and over again. It's way more, way more tiring to do that kind of thing. So sorry, folks, but I think there's a reason why drama rises to the top in the Oscar season. I think it's way more difficult to get people to sit still for 2 hours and be emotionally affected by a story. And sorry, I didn't bind it at all. This year and last year, I thought were 2 great years, or 2019.
And that's 2 Billy Crystal references in the one episode. So
nice.
I'm on board. Yeah.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. So we got
directing.
I'm with you, John. Okay, directing. Yeah. All right, let's do it. Is anybody going to pick against it or what?
Are we? So we have another round: Mank, Minari, Nomadland, and Promising Young Woman. And all 3 of us know what the fuck is up because Chloe Zhao is going to win for Nomadland.
She's going to win.
Yeah,
like she's going to win. She should win. It's not just political. She should win. That forum thing I was talking about. She made a fresh new movie that Americans have maybe never seen before, and I just. Yeah, get out of the way. Give that woman what she's.
I think it's going to age well too. Sometimes Oscar movies don't age well. Obviously, Green Book is never going to age well, and it's going to be kind of a weird asterisk kind of year. I'm not saying it was a terrible movie if you hated it. I'm not saying it was a great movie. It's just it's weird that is.
Right.
I'm also
even La La Land and Moonlight. I'm almost happy that they're tied together because it's like what an interesting year that you had like the privilege of a La La Land movie mixed with the importance of a Moonlight movie in the same year. This is a good. Mixed. This is a movie that I think in a year or 2 or 3 or 4, not shitting on Amazon, letting the character do whatever she wanted.
Yeah,
not
okay.
About the circumstances.
I noticed we're now on 20 minutes in, so I'm going to bring up the Amazon thing. Like this happened in the LA Times recently.
Do it, dude. Go off.
They brought up the fact like someone was ranting that Nomadland glossed over how difficult and how hard it is to work with Amazon. And I know like Amazon had some pay disputes, they had a union vote that went through recently, that sort of thing. Okay, cool. That's not what this film is about. Yes. That is a minor subset of this film. She goes to work for Amazon as part of the Nomad thing. And it's like, I'm sorry, your film doesn't have to accomplish everything. And I'm almost 100% sure that this is a fucking smear campaign that was started by a rival studio who wants their picture to get more votes than they do. And I'm sorry, to stop doing that shit. Stop using the media to do that.
If you saw this movie and you think the hardest thing in her life was the Christmas season at Amazon, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
because you didn't watch the rest of the fucking movie.
We get it. Anyone who is like, it's okay. We're all woke. We know what Amazon's doing.
Yeah,
but these are like, if
also,
anything,
didn't take place yesterday. It took place in 2011.
Yeah, these are people who have lost everything, are living on the road, and they go and do Amazon seasonal work so they can fucking eat.
Yeah.
So
it just doesn't have anything to do with it.
Double-edged sword. It's easy to sit in your nice, mansion or whatever and go, Amazon's bad.
This movie's already aging well because if you follow quote unquote left-wing media, you would have assumed that Amazon vote to unionize that you just mentioned would have been an overwhelming, crazy success. It did not go through. More people voted to not unionize. So I don't think we understand not only Amazon and how it works in society, but their own employees. Now, I'm not saying that they're voting in their best self-interest or worse self-interest. I'm not saying I understand everything about unionization or Amazon's practices, but apparently a lot of workers are willing to continue working there under these circumstances. I mean, it's not up to us.
They've got a 15 minimum wage at the moment, and it's like I in seeing this film, as in Nomadland, I understand why that vote might have failed because there are a lot of people that depend on that work, and there are a lot of things that come with union membership that would. Like you've got your dues, you've got all that sort of thing, and maybe they're not prepared to part with that.
But more importantly, I agree with you that it's not about. That's not what this movie is about.
It's not
I would tax the fuck out of Amazon, by the way. But this character, it's not my movie. It's this character's movie.
And that is such a tiny little sliver of
to bring that up and throw that out as an LA Times article. It's just seriously, that's just trying to influence the vote. Fuck you.
I agree. And here's the way you solve that. If Amazon did get unionized, I don't think that would have changed this woman's story. I think she would have gone in and out of the union and kept traveling in her van. So who gives a fuck?
They would still take on seasonal part-time workers, even if
big picture. I do want to give it up. Every now and then, a art house, smart house, independent film breaks through into the zeitgeist and claims it's all of its awards. And I think this is one of those times, which is why I do agree, Jeff. I think this is probably going to be timeless. I feel like just what
It's
she
like,
achieved as a film is so
anyone
unique.
who's made a film knows you can't cover every single issue in the world in a film.
You're supposed to.
Yeah, no, it's like that. You've got the story you're trying to tell, and if you don't tell that story, and someone comes out and criticizes you about it in the LA Times, it's like,
you know what? Which is great. That's why we started this fucking
You missed
podcast.
the point.
Like,
Yeah.
just because you didn't like something doesn't mean there's not something to more appreciate more. That's not what this movie was about.
Falls down to, it almost falls down to toxic fandom. It's just because it didn't do what you wanted it to do.
Exactly.
You're going to go on the media and bag the shit out of it. It's no.
So we are three people who probably think Amazon should be unionized, who don't give a fuck about this particular debate.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it then. While we're talking about this, let's move over to Best Picture. You have The Father, Judas
Holy
and the Black
shit.
Messiah,
The best
Mank,
picture.
Minari,
The one I had to expand the
Nomadland,
screen for.
Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, Trial of Chicago 7. I've already put my vote in. We should also shout out really quick the directors since we got off on our tangent. Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round. David Fincher for Mank, who has never won. He's not in the club, but it looks like this is not going to be his year. Minari of Lee Isaac Chung, Nomadland, Chloe Zhao, and Promising Young Woman is Emerald Fennell, who is very young. So I can very easily see that becoming one of those, what are you going to do next movies? So maybe she'll get the screenplay though, who knows? All right, people, back to Best Picture. Uh-oh.
We
John,
have voted.
John, there's no way that's going to happen.
I think you're right, but I decided to go with my heart, not with what I think is going to win. Dave and Jeff voted for Nomadland, which I do think is probably going to win. I voted for Sound of Metal.
I mean,
so did you guys? I'm just curious though.
through?
Did you go with your heart, or did you go with what you think is going to win?
I really appreciated Nomadland as a film.
Okay,
I'm okay with
for all the things we've watched, and we have watched everything in this list. That is the one that resonated with me the most.
Nice, dude.
Yeah,
good. I'm glad you feel that way.
I again, I'll say it's going to age really well because it is staying with me. Even though I think I went out to bat for people that would find it a little underwhelming at first when I went on the podcast. I definitely said we shouldn't gush about this because there's going to be people who find it a little boring at first. I think it's going to age really well, and I think people are going to appreciate it more over time. My favorite movies of the year were Sound of Metal and Minari.
Yeah,
but I think Minari does have a shot.
I do
Things
too.
could happen. Momentum could come out of nowhere. I don't think Sound of Metal has a shot, but I appreciate your choice, John. Do you want to defend it?
I do want to defend it only because for me, every single year when I'm going to the Oscar season, I'm waiting to have a very specific feeling. And I am usually right. When I will walk out of a theater and I'll be like, that gave me the chills that the best picture usually gives me. I felt it with Moonlight. I felt it with so many excellent films over the years. I'm not saying I didn't get the feelings from Minari and Nomadland. I definitely did. Like I was very aware I was watching a masterpiece for both of those movies. But Sound of Metal lingered with me. It gave me those feelings and it lingered the longest. I can't stop thinking about the ending of that movie.
Same.
So I don't know. I think it's the most understated film of the year because of what it's about, literally because they don't talk very much in that movie. And yet I feel like cinematically, it might be my favorite emotional achievement, even though I think you're probably right. I think Nomadland is probably going to win, which is cool, which is great. Good for them.
I mean, Sound of Metal could also, like, it is the epitome of show or don't tell.
Yeah.
Quite literal. Yeah.
But it's also like, as I said, I watched it with the subtitles on. So, and the subtitles leave out the parts he can't hear.
Right. Yes, correct.
Which is amazing.
I did that the second time I watched it.
It's like if you want to experience this film in full, learn ASL.
Wow.
Yeah. We've shouted out Riz a couple times and Paul Raci, but Paul Raci wanted to become an actor because his parents, who were both deaf, would ask him to sign old TV shows. So he would get up and act out the TV shows for his parents while he would sign for them. Like, tell me that isn't a good story that has now led to an Oscar nomination for one of the most powerful performances in the most subtle way of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That's why I picked him.
Well, regardless, I think, once again, just to echo what we were just talking about, I think all these movies are definitely worth watching. I really enjoyed this year. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad we did this whole segment. I think it's fun. I don't think any of these movies would like frustrate me if one of them won over the other. I'm just happy they still made some good movies that came out in 2020. Jesus Christ.
I think I disagree with that. I think, but maybe like half of them, I'd be pretty happy if they won.
The ones that we think are in contention for each award.
Yeah,
I don't think
correct,
any of them
correct.
would upset me. Yeah. How about that?
I mean, we're
All
gonna
right, people,
save
well,
this and look
thanks.
back and see how well we did. So yeah.
Oh, for sure. Thank you so much for sticking with us.
Thank
Go
you.
get 'em. Please at least pay attention to who wins and stuff. I know not everybody's tuning in every Sunday night to watch award shows, but it could be fun. I do think this is going to be a good representation of this year, ultimately, having seen all the films that we saw. And that's it. That's all I have to say. Anybody else?
Yeah. Stay tuned. I mean, we'll probably end up giving some kind of talk back a little bit on some of these awards just to give our final thoughts.
I
But
feel like this is our longest show without a break.
I think this was the longest show.
Oh,
without a
yeah.
break.
That means I have to pee.
Also, stay tuned.
Yeah.
We're not announcing it yet because we're brainstorming, but we are going to be coming back with some kind of fresh new segment. It might be a little bit of something we've done in the past, or it might be brand new. But stay tuned for more. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time. Jesus.
All right, friends.